Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about how I ended up here. When I say here, I mean how I ended up in Bordeaux, France as a student. So I always wanted to go to France when I was a kid. You know, it's always like you think of Paris, you think of the Eiffel Tower, you think of fashion, you think of food, but it was always just, a dream. It's something I never thought I'd act upon. In high school, I took French for 3.5 years. But no one ever takes high school language classes seriously, like ever. Like I was in that class for 3.5 years and I feel like I really didn't appreciate the class. Like the teacher is really cool and I felt pretty bad that I didn't study at all. I really didn't care was a problem. So then come college, I took French again, and this time I started, from the beginning. Like I tried to enter French 1 and my teacher's like, you don't suck. You can take French 2. So, okay. So I was in French 2 and I started from there basically with just starting passé composé. Basically that's where we started. So I take it and I take the classes pretty seriously. So my college offers a study abroad program called UCEAP and they're a pretty great program, I want to say. I haven't quite formed my opinion on the program itself as a whole, but I have definitely formed my opinion on this program itself for the city I'm studying abroad in, and that will be a different video because I have a lot to say. So I heard about this studying abroad program and they have all these cities, all these countries. The only condition is you have to be a UC, aka University of California student. I go to UCSC, but anyone can take this program as long as you have the required GPA, because every specific program is different. Like some schools say you must have been studying this language for a certain amount of years or you can't come here because they don't offer immersion language programs. It literally just depends. So for my program, I took the full year studying abroad in French. Like my classes are in French. So I'm taking them with normal French university students here, which was pretty intimidating, but it's not as bad as I thought. Basically, you just have to apply for the program and they do, well, you do most of the work, but they will do the hard work. You just have to do the work that takes up a lot of time. I mean when I say that is you fill out all this paperwork saying, here's every class I've ever taken. I talk to my major program advisors. They say it's okay for me to go abroad. I will be able to graduate. I'll get credit for classes I want to take and stuff like that. Just all that jazz. My program wasn't that impacted because it's Bordeaux and most people wanted to go to Paris, I imagine. For me, Paris doesn't appeal to me as somewhere I would ever want to live. I have visited it twice and I'm really glad I'm not living there because I really do not like the city. It's pretty similar to San Francisco. It's not that safe. You get out of the main city area. It's dangerous. I really don't like it as somewhere that I would live in ever. But Bordeaux, it's literally my favorite, so I'm super glad I chose this. Also, I visited Lyon this past weekend and I fucking hated it. I'm so glad that I did not study there either. I am so glad. But again, that's a whole nother story. So then I ended up getting the email and there was a lot of stuff I had to do myself. I had to send in a lot of documents. I had never had a passport before because I never traveled before. So I had to get a US passport and I had to make an appointment for that. So I had to make an appointment for the French consulate. You have to make it months in advance. I had to make this appointment in, oh my god, February I think, so I can have the appointment in June. It was, wow, it was a long wait. You have to get an appointment, you have to get your appointment fast. And you have a very specific time, and if you miss it, it's tough shit literally. So for in California, there's 2 French consulates. There's a consulate in Los Angeles and there is one in San Francisco. Because I'm from NorCal, I went to the consulate in San Francisco. So the experience there was pretty painless. She basically looked at all my papers. I had to provide proof of my income, how much money I would have to make sure I can live there, my documentation as an American citizen, my California government issued ID with me, If you're staying in France for over 6 months, I believe, you have to have a titre long séjour, which is a long stay visa. So if you're going to be in the country for over 6 months and stay there continuously, you need to have a visa for France. So then you would give them your passports, and they'll, make sure everything's all right. And if everything's good, everything looks in order, they will mail back your passport for you with your stamped long stay paper, just like a normal piece of printer paper you have information on, and their stamp you have to keep with you at all times. So yeah, so after you have the visa appointment, you get your passport back, you're good. Next order of business, better to do it early obviously, was to buy your tickets. So for my program, you had to arrive on a specific day. Like, you could arrive before, stay in a hotel, arrange with the landlord if you really wanted to move in earlier, but you had to be here on a specific day. I remember it was August 17th, you had to be here. So I booked with KLM Airlines. It was definitely a bit on the pricier side, but it would be my first time flying ever in my life, but that I could ever remember. I know I went on a couple trips to Disneyland and Hawaii as a young kid, probably less than 10 years old, so I really don't know the whole plane situation. So I invested in a nicer flights. So for my flights, you could have one big suitcase, I'm not pulling that shit down, one really big suitcase, which is going to be in your checked bag. And then you can have 2 suitcases with you that are with you at all times. You have your accessory, which is like a handbag, a purse, a camera bag. I had this shoulder bag, which I was able to put a lot of stuff in. In addition, you can have another carry-on, which will go in the overhead compartment. So I have this little white suitcase. Most flights I take internationally throughout Europe, you can only have one bag. Recently I bought a duffel bag I've been using. It's bright pink, so it's easy to recognize. But for that, I have this white rolling suitcase which I use. And it's a hard shell, which is very good, which is where I put all my makeup, because of course I brought all my makeup. I literally brought 8 eyeshadow palettes because I am a piece of shit and I love makeup and I cannot part with my makeup ever. My first time ever going somewhere alone. The first time traveling alone, besides taking a Greyhound from Los Angeles to my hometown. That was alone, but that was a bus, this is a plane. This is me leaving to live in a new country for 11 months. This is big. So, my whole family went with me, my mom, my dad, and my 2 sisters. I said goodbye to my dog before I left, and then my mom walked to me with the gates, and then we said our goodbyes. I was literally the first person into security because it was the first flight that was leaving the airport. It really didn't set in until, I remember this so clearly, it didn't set in until I arrived in Amsterdam. My route there, I had 3 airplanes. I was going from San Jose International to Minneapolis, and then from Minnesota I go to Amsterdam, which is my long haul flights, and from Amsterdam I go to Bordeaux. So Amsterdam was the final stretch. I got some news that wasn't really great, and I feel like that was the first time I ever really felt alone in this world, as a person. Like, this sounds like really deep, but like in that moment, being alone in this country, I was like, shit, I am a person, I am doing things, I am leaving everything I know behind just for this opportunity to better my French, to go to a French university, and it kind of felt selfish to me a bit, because it's like, I'm spending all this money, I'm spending all this time, I'm putting stress on my family, being away so long, and it was just really me questioning if it was worth it for me. I arrived in France. I took a taxi because I didn't know Uber existed here, even though it totally does. I took a taxi to my address. So upon arrival, we had some immersion activities planned for us, which was basically, let's parade around in this big group of 50 and do tourist things that you feel like you have to do because you had to pay for them with your expenses in your program. So we're gonna guilt trip you into going to all of them, even though none of them seem interesting. You don't know all these other people. You don't care about all these other people, but you'll go because you don't know any better. So, well, some of them were fun, but some of them are awful. Like, one of the outings we went to Arcachon, which is a beautiful city, absolutely beautiful city. We climbed the Dune du Pilat. I can't wait to go back. It's really fun. I really miss hiking a lot. But so basically we have some immersion classes too, obviously, for bettering our French, which I feel like they helped. They were early in the morning. No one wants to go to French class early in the morning, you know, and do grammar with people you don't care about, or like, you know, I was French track, so I would take classes with every other normal French student who's in the university. So I took a couple of art classes like drawing and painting. I took Portuguese. I took a French literature class. What else did I take? I took a French cinema class a semester, because we go by semesters here, which is also weird for me. I'm so used to quarters. This quarter I'm taking, well, I just finished this class. It's the first 100 days of the next US presidency, which obviously is about Trump, and that class was miserable as well. An advanced drawing class, Portuguese again, morphology, I think that's the same word in English, morphology, basically how words are made. You're looking at root words, and like if you add certain prefixes and suffixes, how it makes a word when it makes a word, and it's pretty cool. It's for my Sciences Po Longues, my linguistics major that I'm doing. Taking a written French module, so basically to better my French, so it's like writing essays and grammar and all that awful stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how I got here to this point. That's how I ended up studying in France. Yeah, there's not much else to say. It was a rocky road. It still kind of is hard to get used to. I still really can't believe I'm living here, even though it's March and I have to leave in June. I've been here since August, and it's still very surreal. It doesn't feel real. I don't want to leave. But on the bright side, I believe I'm going to choose another program and go study abroad somewhere else for a year, for next year. Well, not for a year, for spring semester of next year. So far I'm looking at Brazil, because, you know, they speak Portuguese there. The city there I can do Sao Paulo. So I'm going to have to do some shopping for what countries I would like to study in. But so far, I think I want to do Sao Paulo, or maybe Australia. But yeah, we will see how things go. That's kind of how I ended up in this situation here, studying abroad in France as a California girl who has never traveled at all in her life, but now travels multiple times a month to many different countries. Thanks for watching, you guys. Please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, the subscribe button, hit that down below, and please leave a comment for what place you would love to study abroad in if you have the chance to. So see you babes later. Bye.